Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching Disruptive Investing, and I thought we'd get into a little Li Auto.
So Li Auto is a Chinese company headquartered in Beijing. It's listed on NASDAQ. That often gets missed when we report on EV companies.
And it's funny because it's a $30 billion market cap company, but I think it may be for three reasons.
Okay.
So one, it's relatively young. It was founded in 2015, but really they just started producing cars past 3 years, so it feels like a 3-year-old company. Number two, most of us have never ridden in a Li Auto vehicle because so far they're only sold in China. Li did announce plans last year to start selling outside of China in the first half of this year, but so far I have not heard anything about that. That's definite. And three, so far all of Li Auto's cars are plug-in hybrids. That's right. All their models come with a gas tank.
Li treats their gas engine as a range extender to alleviate range anxiety, but I agree with you. I think in my mind, I have been treating their lineup as less than electric. And you know how much we dislike fossil fuels.
Okay, so a lot of press in the past couple weeks about how Li Auto should be on your radar as an investor because unlike NIO and XPeng, who have had year-over-year drops in their monthly deliveries, Li Auto has delivered twice as many cars in May as a year ago. And I want to deep dive on why Li Auto may be doing so well. Because Li Auto sold 28,277 vehicles in May, and that's up 146% from a year ago. Li sells this. This is their flagship L7 5-seat SUV. And I think we can just stop here with this model. This, I think, is going to tell the whole story. So I want to kind of deep dive on this. This is their 5-seat SUV. It has a unique feature that they call the queen seat. So with one click, you can transform the back seat into the queen seat with the front passenger seat becoming a footrest and the screen in the roof swinging down. You get this luxurious seat.
Why?
Well, I mean, they really play up the queen seat luxury.
But why not the king seat?
Well, I think they're culturally going after the matriarch getting this special treatment, and my guess is that it plays really well when it comes to sales. I mean, think about the typical sales pitch, right? Okay, you got your horsepower, your torque, your range, your speed, your charging speed, numbers, 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 numbers. And then think of this sales pitch. You'll be chauffeured around in style, elegance, and luxury. You can tell all your friends how you're treated like royalty being in this car. Boom, sale made. What do people in China pay a premium for?
I don't know.
Space, right? And here's what Li is selling with the L7. One click, you get space. In fact, here's another mode you get, camping mode.
Wait, so this is the same car?
This is the same car. These are all photos from their website, by the way. They just keep driving home the point that this car is a new space for your family. Now check this out. Your private immersive theater at home. A VIP theater you enjoy while lying down. A 7.3.4 panoramic audio experience with 20 speakers and almost 2,000 watts of power. All right, so what does China have a lot of?
People.
And bad roads.
Okay.
So what does the L7 offer? Magic carpet air suspension. And then to top it off, just as you're about to say, yeah, but the range can't be that good, Li goes,
What? I mean, over 1,100 kilometers of WLTP range, but only a 43 kilowatt hour battery pack?
yeah, because they have a gas range extender. And that's when it hit me. They nailed what Chinese customers want. So NIO tried to solve range with what? Battery swaps, right? Li solved it by having a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder range extender. So my question is this: is this disruptive? I mean, Li didn't really offer anything technologically different or new, but because it's electric, they can offer all the good stuff that an EV offers, including this: a reliable energy station for the whole family. So this is 3.5 kilowatts of power for like camping equipment, for instance. They say pots, ovens, and coffee makers turn nature into a restaurant, and a hot shower room after playing on the beach. So again, not new technology. Other EVs offer this, but very attractive.
So I just want to talk about, so the bed that they show and all this camping equipment, Li does not sell this. This is all third party.
I believe so, right?
But they are playing up a whole bunch of factors that I would say aren't uncommon in cars, besides like the queen seat and, you know, the one button press to get all the seats to go flat. But I mean, obviously you get that huge screen in the back.
Well, you said it's not uncommon, but I mean, think about Chinese cars. I think you're thinking like outside of China. But in China, can you think of other cars that we've heard of where you get like this camping experience where you know?
No, I mean, I totally get it. And they're selling, the Chinese on this sort of idea of what a vehicle could be. It's a very American idea, I would say.
Here's the difference. In Europe, in America, families tend to be bigger, right?
Okay.
The average family size, 2.3 kids. In China, the average family tends to be an average of one child because they had a one-child policy. So you're talking 3 people in a family, right? Mom, a dad, and a kid generally. And so this is appealing to the family. Like, buy this car and your matriarch, your mom, will be taken care of, or maybe the grandmother of the family. And then you can go with your one kid on a very comfortable camping excursion or adventure. And I think that that is a pretty smart thing to appeal to, because those are going to be like 2 people in the family who normally don't get to make that decision, like the kid and maybe the mom, because normally we think like the dad makes that decision. Now they're both going like, whoa, that was fun going to that showroom or going to that website and checking out this car. It's all the things I want in a car. How about this feature? So they show it's the first automatic emergency braking feature with embedded LiDAR. Again, I don't know technically how useful this is going to be. It shows it kind of working around a bend, but it does kind of play into the whole safety factor. Or this, a heads-up display. Again, one of those features that like not many cars actually deliver on. And I mean, China does get a lot of bad weather. And so being able to see better in like the fog is cool. Or how about this? Add max autonomous driving sensors and Sentry mode. Does Sentry mode sound familiar? A Tesla feature, basically. I don't know how much autonomous driving it actually does, but because it has the sensors, it at least makes you feel like it's watching out for you. Anyway, check this out. Feature after feature, over 100 what they call flagship features. So when you go to their website, it's really appealing to like kind of the whole family. You just see feature after feature of things that look unique, look really cool, and make you want to spend time in this car. And I just think that for many people in China who probably live in kind of cramped living conditions, having this escape pod might look really attractive, and it might be why their sales are so high.
I mean, it is interesting to me because I feel like American advertisement is trying to sell you on just a couple things. They're like, you're going to look really cool in this car, or this car is good for the whole family, or like, you're a man if you drive this truck. They usually don't even really talk about many of the features unless the feature is so showboaty. I mean, I can think of like, the steps on certain pickup trucks, how they're like, that's cool. You can step up into the bed of your pickup truck. Whatever to me, like I don't care.
Your steps example is a really cool one because it's probably some family that's had pickup trucks in the family for years, and so they keep buying pickup trucks and they're looking for new features. Whereas in China, a lot of these people, this is going to be their first real car, if not basically their first luxury car, because so many people have entered the middle class. And so they don't really have a whole family, like decades of buying a car. This might be their first excursion.
So this is kind of like the station wagon back in the 50s and 60s.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what's going on here.
I want a go anywhere, do anything kind of vehicle.
Exactly.
So let's talk price. The L7 ranges from $47,000 to $56,000 depending on trim level. The Neo ES8 SUV starts at $75,000 and goes up to $84,000.
And you might be asking, why is there such a big price difference? One word answer: batteries. The L7 has half the batteries as the starting ES8. So Li Auto found this sweet spot. And look, I can't believe I'm saying this because I really don't like cars that have gasoline anywhere in them. But with a 43 kilowatt hour battery, let's be honest, you're not going to be using the gas tank hardly ever, except for maybe some long trips. So is Li onto something? What do you think? And disclaimer here, we're not financial analysts, and I have invested in Li Auto a couple of years ago. It's a very small part of my portfolio. I mainly did it so that I could keep an eye on it for our investor club, which if you made it this far in the video, you should consider joining over on our Patreon.
Now, I want to talk about, we're disruptive investing here, and nowhere in Li Auto's whole pantheon of features here, none of it is disruptive technology.
Right.
This is all stuff that you can do. Like making a queen seat is not something that we're like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? Or having a range extender, it's not like, oh my gosh, they have a range extender? What?
And that's my big question to you guys is, so the downside to not being technologically disruptive is that if you start getting market share from your competitors, which it looks like Li is doing, they will copy you. it's not that hard to do. So still, Li is only selling about a third of what Tesla is selling in China. So maybe they're kind of under the radar right now, but they're still impressive numbers. And I've got to bet that if NIO and XPeng are having some problems competing with Tesla and they see Li taking off, they might be like, what's Li doing? And they might just go, hey, let's offer a queen seat, we'll name it something else, and we'll offer a range extender.
Because I doubt that Tesla is going to start offering a lot of these features.
No, I mean, at least the range extending features.
Right. I mean, I know like a Model Y, especially like even the 7-seater Model Y, you can fold down all the seats and have a nice flat bed area. It doesn't have that fold down, 27-inch screen or anything like that. So you're missing out on some things. You're also missing out on just power outlets,
right.
Something that Tesla honestly should kind of get on.
Yeah.
A lot of other EVs are starting to offer that in all different markets. I don't know. I think that this is a really interesting look. It's a completely different take on a vehicle. We have not really seen a long range plug-in hybrid.
Exactly. We had the Chevy Volt, which they've discontinued, and that gave you like 40, 50 miles on the initial charge, and then it went to the range extender. And 40, 50 miles is okay, but it's for America, it barely gets you your commute. We saw the BMW i3 with the range extender. Again, very short initial range before you got into the extender.
And the extender had a 2-gallon gas tank, so it got you another like 70 miles. It didn't get you hundreds of miles for some long road trip or something.
Right. Here, you're getting a lot of initial miles. So again, I don't think you're going to be using gas much, but it's just that nice like range anxiety pill. It's like, oh, we can definitely go to grandma's house and not worry about that.
Right. Even if there's no charging stations along the whole way.
Right. So that's my big question to you guys. It's not that companies always have to have every disruptive technology as IP in their portfolio, locked down intellectual property that no one else can have. Sometimes it's just a combination of features. So it's possible that Li has gotten that right. My only question, though, is do they have any kind of moat? Because if this does work for them, I'm assuming others will copy them. So share your comments and your thoughts with us. I just think that maybe I've been ignoring Li because they use range extenders and I'm just partial to fully battery electric vehicles, but maybe I shouldn't be that blinders on. Maybe I should be allowing myself to see that this is actually a very attractive vehicle.
And it could be attractive for the American market. I really hate to say it, but having a smaller battery brings that price down a lot.
Exactly. I mean, their margins are going to be higher because the engine that they are sticking in there, the ICE engine, it's not really doing much. It's just creating electricity. So it's very small, very cheap, and it doesn't get used much. So it doesn't even have to have like a high lifespan. So that's kind of my thought is that, by taking the most expensive part of the car, which is the battery, cutting that cost in half, it means that they have less supply problems. They can make more cars because they're using half the batteries, and they're cheaper, so their margins are higher.
It's very interesting. It's important to be thinking about differing ideas. I feel like it's something that Ford or GM could do.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
I'm surprised they didn't.
Their audience doesn't care as much about something being fully electric. I honestly feel like on some of the electric, pickup trucks and stuff like that, having a gas range extender, while I'm not a huge fan of it, it could make the difference for a lot of people. You could have, 100 or 150 miles of normal range. It would also, for towing, make a huge difference.
Here's, I think, the problem. I think that Chevy came up with the idea for the Volt, and when they did, the Volt with a V, when they did, it looked like a really cool car. If you remember, the early designs were going to be very cool looking. And then they watered it down, went with the Chevy Malibu, basically, to keep costs low. And so when Americans saw this car, it really didn't excite many people. I think that if they had done it right, all the other auto companies would have taken notice, but because they didn't, and because the sales weren't that great, they discontinued it, and everyone was like, yeah, that's a dumb idea. I don't think it's a dumb idea for America. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, again, if they had continued the Volt, kept increasing its battery range, and maybe even increasing the size of the gas tank is not that big a deal.
Right.
So increasing both of those things and just making this into like a super affordable. I mean, the Volt is already great. I will say it's already great, but I would say that its biggest limitation, if you could opt for a larger battery pack, I think getting 100, 120 miles of electric range could make a huge difference, especially if you threw in some fast charging, even at 50 kilowatts. I hate to say it. It could make a big difference in terms of how people could use the vehicle.
Well, and look at what Li did here with the L7. They went for a bigger SUV style, which again would play really well here in the US.
Yeah.
So I just think that the Volt was this kind of like mid hatchbacky thing that no one really
Kind of a compliance car.
exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, really love to hear your thoughts about this. Is this just not disruptive enough, or did they get it right because they combine so many features?
Let us know what you think below. We'll see you next time on Disruptive Investing.